We're live. Hey, folks, Lester and Jamie here. And yeah, we come live at 8 o'clock on Sundays now. I've been sitting here for a while in the green room where I can see you and you can't see me. And a lot of people were thinking they have bad signal, bad reception, something's going on. But we try to keep it consistent to 8 o'clock. And we used to do 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then just with everything that was changing with our schedules and both properties, 8 o'clock in the afternoon worked out a lot better for us. We're not interfering with anyone else that goes live on Sundays. A lot of the folks that you guys follow will sometimes go live in the afternoons or evenings. And so this is actually pretty good. It's Central Time. So it's only 9 o'clock for the folks out to the east and even earlier for the folks out west.
You know, I just realized you actually pointed in the right direction. That's kind of crazy.
Sorry to say this, but listen, that's actually north. So actually that would be east, that would be west, the way we're facing. But it's okay. It's okay. You're a girl. Oh, I'm kidding. You know, I'm all about spatial reasoning, and that's just my thing. And so I love you, but I'm a spatial reasoning freak. Like something's wrong with me. I'm kidding. Let me hold your hand because I love you so much. And you know, besides, I actually owed you one because no one knows what took us so long to actually click the go live button. Here's what it is. I'll go ahead and show you. So I want to wear my glasses so I can read. I want to read what you guys are saying. I says, Jamie, look at my eyes. Look at my eyes. I look like them. And
what I said was, eyeballs. Like, how much do you have to read? Because we looked like we had black eyes without the ring light on.
So I said, okay, you know what? This is a lot easier. Look how great that looks. And I'm like, yeah, Jamie, I can see everything. I can see us. And she's like, we look like we have black eyes, like we've been beating up each other. I'm like, Jamie, we don't have black eyes. But now if I put my glasses on, I can read. I can see what you're saying. And without them, I can't. And that's a true dilemma. So guess who won? Jamie did. She won that one. And she made me feel really horrible in the process.
Well, you gave me a black eye. 2 of them.
Oh, Lord. Do you want to sip my water bottle?
Okay, so we had to stop at Dollar General to get some coffee creamer for tomorrow morning because the world cannot begin without it. And I bought myself a little Red Bull snack for this evening because I have a lot of work to do tonight. Sorry.
Yeah, it's been a busy weekend and everything kind of went haywire with our initial plans for the weekend with what I'm sure most of you guys have seen in your neck of the woods, yet it's our neck of the woods where it's all happening.
Yeah.
We had a horrific, tragic, I guess you would call it an incident. And for the folks who don't know, our video this morning was about it on the I'm a Survivor channel. But there was just a very sinister and evil individual did just a horrific act and shot and killed execution style several members of a particular family who lived next door to him. And now he's hiding somewhere in the vicinity. And as you guys know, this happened in North Cleveland. We live in South Cleveland, Texas, not Ohio. And so, how do I say this in a nice way? Everyone knows that with the development and the neighborhood growth into South Cleveland, which is what we've always called Plum Grove, we've had just, they call this violent crimes. This would be considered a violent crime. And there have been so many violent crimes. And the unfortunate thing is they have a really hard time catching people in the neighborhood. Why? Why is it so hard to catch people? And you got to be sitting here. This is the why I'm making you talk, because it's very hard to say exactly what we want to say because people can be easily offended. Go ahead.
So there is a large amount of undocumented people living very close to I'm a Survivor Sanctuary in Plum Grove. So across the road literally is a neighborhood that used to be thousands of acres of trees that was developed to sell to illegal and undocumented immigrants and to anyone really, but
It was catered
there is a
to folks with no
pathway,
credit, with no tax ID.
no
They
ID,
needed
anything.
nothing to buy land.
And it is a buy here, pay here situation, which is also very sad for those individuals. And I need to be clear here and say that this isn't a dig at every single person of a race or a gender or of a ethnicity or anything like that. This is a generalization to what we are seeing happen right in front of our eyes. These people do not have to have credit, ID. They don't have to have anything. There are no rules. There are no boundaries. There are no police. And here you have this community of Cleveland, Texas, which at one point in time was what, 5,000, and Plum Grove was 600.
5,500.
And in the
before
last
Hurricane Harvey,
5.5 years, the census at 2020 has expanded to 45,000 people. Those are the people that checked the box and filled out the census. And since that time, so that's 2020, we're here in 23 now. We don't count between then, but the school districts grow by 1,000 children a month.
So, but we're kind of getting off the topic a little bit.
Hold on.
Okay.
In all of that growth, it is very hard to have a grasp of how much support that community needs to be able to expand in that way. And you have multiple families living in multiple houses, and you have enough going on that it's chaos and mayhem, and there's no organization or infrastructure to support this huge influx. And amongst all of that, you also have many gangs that are developing and being brought over from other countries and established right here.
But we're still kind of like, and that's, you're right. And sometimes the truth of the matter does hurt, but that really wasn't, I don't think, where what I think that what we're trying to say is it's easy to hide. It's it's easy to blend in neighborhoods where there's no official registrations. And like Jamie was saying, people are able to work as contractual day laborers and never have to have a bank account or any kind. They get paid with cash daily. They can stay inside the neighborhood and do all of their shopping from all of the vendors who are set up in the neighborhood, never have to leave, never have to drive.
My point was, though, there's such a huge amount of people that when a person gets pulled over, they don't have an ID. And guess what? They don't have to. And they can be anyone that they want to be. So there's no requirement like you and I have to turn over a driver's license or an insurance card, because there aren't any. And whenever you get into a mass amount of people, you can hide, and the culture begins to protect itself on top of everything else, which is very scary. And this isn't just related to this crime. I know that we've spent the day talking about all of the recent things that have made our local community news. This was the first one that has really gone big like this. And I believe it will shine a light on all of the things that are happening here. But it is very easy to hide, not just in this neighborhood, which is thousands of acres. It is easy to hide in Texas is big, and there's a lot of farm ground in South Texas that have ranches, and above all of that, have abandoned places that haven't recovered since Hurricane Harvey as well. Okay, I'll stop talking now. It's your turn.
No, I just get nervous because there's some topics that we all are, everyone's entitled to their opinions. And unfortunately, the facts are different depending on your perspective. And so our perspective of the way that we see things is a neighborhood where most folks don't have an ID. Last names can change with just by saying a name. And so it's very unlikely. And I believe that the latest report, unless something has changed in the last couple of hours, is that this person could be anywhere.
Yes.
Yet there are helicopters circling over the neighborhood in Plum Grove like crazy. There's an official manhunt underway. Now, I don't know all the different parts of the county or the state where they're focused, but what I see with my own eyes this is day number 2 of community members, residents who are forming parties, manhunts, who are going door to door asking neighbors, asking residents to allow them to search the premises voluntarily, looking for this individual. And I commend folks to do that, but it's also very scary because, like you said, now there's an $80,000 reward for this individual. So now you're going to find vigilante type folks coming out of the woodwork who would like to have a cut of that money.
Yeah.
And now, of course, I think the goal in that is hopefully if there's an individual who's, or maybe even a gang or someone who's hiding this fella, to say, hey, is he really worth, $80,000, or can we go ahead and turn this fool in?
And I think that's the real pull. And I also need to be clear here. This is, again, not about race or country of origin or any of those things. It is about a alleged man who did something horrific, and the amount of people that I'm trying to say are in an area where they're scared. I didn't say this clear enough. They are scared to tell because they don't feel like they have the right paperwork for themselves and the right things for themselves. So this was not a dig about any of those people. They're all human beings and they have a right to that's nothing. I see people getting very sidetracked. This is not about,
I think that
not having ID.
That's our fault. Yeah, I think
it was my fault. It was what I'm saying. So it's my fault.
Let's just say our fault.
Okay.
Let's say it's our fault because that's not where this live was going to go. We wanted to talk about it because in our lives we talk about the biggest things happening around the farm or the ranch, the sanctuary, and so that obviously is of great concern to everybody in our vicinity, and because this is a very dangerous person, and this is the first time that this magnitude of crime has come so close. But Jamie's right. This is the first time that you guys have heard of maybe a crime of this sort happening. Last year, two housekeepers were entrapped by a man who was undocumented, and he tied them up in his home and raped them. One woman was able to escape, and while she got into the car and was backing up, he shot her through the windshield. The car backed and hit into the ditch, and he ran over and lit the car on fire to try to hide evidence of himself, I guess. And
they never found him.
Luckily enough neighbors were awoken by everything that the guy saw that he was discovered. So he ran. They found the other woman inside the house. Mm-hmm. They were able to get her, untie her from where she was being kept prisoner. And that's how we know that story, but they never found that individual. And then a couple of months back, they found two teenage boys. Who 15 were,
and 16, I think.
Yeah, who were shot in their vehicle, both shot and dead in their vehicle. And once again, no one knows who did it. They don't know who did it. 16-year-old girl gets dropped off at work and goes missing. I believe they finally found her. I don't know if they ever found the person that killed her. So these are things that we have been living with.
That are right in our neighborhood, right? Like this isn't Houston, Texas. This is in the Plum Grove, South Cleveland neighborhood, right across from us.
A lot of people in my morning video were talking about how they have become desensitized to violent crimes because they live in parts of the country or parts of the world that see crimes like this on a daily basis, and their local news, another person is shot and killed, and so you do over time become desensitized, and we're not. This is
no.
This is, like you say, something that we're like, wow, that's like right down the road.
That's very close. So the Valero, for reference, that we have acquired Christmas at, the abandoned church where Billy Bob came from, the empty lot down from the Valero where Stella came from, it's right there. It's within mini truck driving distance. And that's where it just becomes so real to think that you have to be so cautious in a place that historically has had the multitude of safety. Now, don't get me wrong. It's everywhere. It's everywhere in the country. I think for Lester and I, we just aren't desensitized to it. It is very fresh and makes us be so conscious and aware that we haven't had to do before. There was another man murdered another man at the Cleveland, Texas airport. The Cleveland, Texas airport does prop planes. That was last month. And when you hear about these things on the tiny little newspaper, that comes out, and on the, things you follow on social media, it hits home, and makes us heightenedly aware. And the reason for Lester's video and to show the steps we have to take is that not just on Morrow Hill are there places that someone could be hiding. There's so many places just like that, with abandoned barns and abandoned buildings and woods, endless acres of woods and creeks and rivers, and just a lot of places where one could be.
Baby, someone said, Lester, let her talk. If my God,
I talk more tonight. Probably everybody's so sick of me talking.
I don't think I've ever been as quiet as I'm being now. And someone says, Lester, let her talk. What I want to do is play for you a video that I've never shown you, a video clip that I have never shown you. It's been in my phone. I don't want to say waiting for a day, but I just have referred back to this video a number of times. In discussing, with Jamie and other people, some of the things, how unsafe Plum Grove is becoming. And so I want to show you guys a little video clip. Now, I'm going to preface it by saying it happened over the holidays. So between Christmas and New Year's, when a lot of people around the country enjoy shooting their guns into the air. Everyone knows that fireworks and things are something that has always happened. It's hard for farms when you have animals, but we don't normally shoot guns into the air. And everyone knows that the danger of a bullet going into the air means that those bullets also fall back down. And so the video I'm going to play for you is something that was recorded from our home recorder, our cameras set up at the house. Now, remember, they catch motion. Our cameras start recording when they detect motion. And so this was late in the evening, I believe just before midnight. I'm on the couch dozing, and all of a sudden, with all of the people that were outside shooting, bullets begin to pelt the top of our house and barn. We have a metal roof on the barn dominium and all the barns. And so even in the house with the shingle roof, it sounds like thunder. And so I think our cameras record 10 seconds or 5 seconds. So that's all I have recorded of the jolt of how fast things can happen, how scary. And what's crazy about it is, I remember on this particular night, I got up and I stormed outside. And if I had seen anybody or shooting, then there would have been words. And so in this particular incident that we're all talking about, there was a man outside shooting, and his neighbor says, "Hey, it's midnight. Could you stop shooting? We have babies trying to sleep." And that is when everything, let me show you this video real fast. Give me a second to pull it up.
So what Lester's trying to say is this hit home for us in more ways than one. It wasn't just that it was right next door. It was that.
Whoops. I wanted to pause it. I didn't mean to cut.
What? Oh. Babe.
So there might be a bad word or two here.
There's definitely some bad words because what we're going to tell you here though is it hit home to us because almost the same scenario.
Oh, it hit home, all right. No pun intended. It hit home.
But the same scenario happened to us, and it ended much differently, clearly. But I think that the fact of this scenario that happened on the greater scale where it ended horribly for 5 people, and the other 5 people who did live, who had to witness that, has really struck us in a way of there has to be something better, and there has to be a solution around this. So go ahead, and I'll stop talking about that because I get pretty emotional around this.
Yeah, you really are. You are heightened emotional tonight. So I do want to warn sensitive viewers that might be some profanity. There is going to be some profanity. I forgot about that. I should have
was
warned
like,
you.
oh, play that.
So, but understand that I think all of us, when we're caught off guard, can sometimes say things we probably don't use every day, or do they? Anyway, let me show you the video, and then I'll play it a couple of times. But I want you to just try to ignore the profanity. But
And
it
we're gonna
was
get banned for that. I'm sure
we will get banned for that, but we'll have to probably do a little jail time, Facebook jail. Here we go.
What the fuck is that?
Here it goes again.
Maybe just. What the fuck is that? I'm so embarrassed. So that noise that you heard is bullets coming down on top of the barns and roof.
Yeah, the loud noise that you hear, that's not thunder. Those
and
are
it's
bullets.
not fireworks. Those are bullets hitting the top of our roof.
Yeah, those are more than that was shotgun. So those would be a shotgun. So there's people out shooting like crazy. But when you shoot in the air, at some point, all of those pellets, shotguns have pellets that and they rain down. And so if the kids had been outside playing in the yard,
our animals were outside.
our animals, the ones that were not inside of the shelter. Now, luckily it was late, and so no one got, but those bullets falling down have killed people. And so this hit very close to home, like you said. I don't mean that in a horrible way, but I'll play it one more time. So just listen to the noise. The dogs are caught off guard. I was just, you can see I'm like
completely out of
it. But I still got up to go defend you.
Walked outside to take some on yourself, I guess.
Here we go. Last time. I'm trying to look around and see what's going on. So there's 2 pillows. That means you and I were both at some point laying down. There's one phone that looks like it might be open. So you must have just got up. The door's open, so we're not in bed yet. The dogs are still able to go back and forth. And here it goes.
What the fuck is that?
I'm stumbling.
Yeah.
I can't say what's in the red cup. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know what I had in the red cup. It was New Year's Eve. Huh?
It was New Year's Eve. And we know that fireworks in that vicinity on New Year's Eve that's a huge thing. And it's a huge thing in Texas. It's a huge thing in many places in the world. So we had given our animals melatonin. We had been present and been doing rounds. We had played music throughout the earlier days so that the animals would get used to the loud noise that happens this time of year. And what we didn't expect was gunshot to be right upon us. It's typically out in the neighborhood, and that's not exclusive to New Year's Eve. It happens frequently, more frequently than I would like to admit. But for it to rain on us was terrifying and alarming. And then to read yesterday's story and learn more about how this unfolded, it just hit home for me, for us, because it was such a similar scenario. And fortunately, ours didn't end as horrific as these poor people who are going through just a traumatic, horrific event. And, and to think about that this person who made these decisions to do this is still out and about, and that they have the last that I read a couple hours ago was an FBI quote that says, "We have no idea where he is."
I think that he could be anywhere right now.
Yes.
So he could be anywhere right now. So the thing is, we spent the entire day over in Plum Grove, and we made sure to do all of the rounds to make sure that even if he wasn't somewhere yesterday, he's not there today, because normally people that go into hiding, they still have to move and travel and move around, getting wherever they're going to, or changing their locations, or for whatever reason. And they have to eat, obviously. So we've been very vigilant trying to make sure that all of our property, everything's locked up and things are closed up, and that this individual's not hiding out anywhere.
And that cameras are working and that lights are working. Like, there's a lot of things that we do anyway, but we went through the extra steps this weekend to make sure that everything's functioning as it should, and to make sure that the rest of the family on Morrow Hill is aware of what's going on. and to keep your eyes open, to absolutely keep your eyes open, and to, if you see something, to say something.
So I'm going to play a little video of what it looks like in Plum Grove. Now, this morning's video, yesterday they had two big turnouts of residents just coming out with their own weapons, forming. Well, and don't think that this is something that law enforcement has asked for help, not necessarily to form vigilante groups, but they've asked for help from the public to locate this individual. And so some people can translate that different ways. And so we saw this happen two different locations yesterday that I put in the video this morning. And that video was on both I'm a Survivor YouTube and Facebook. So everyone had a chance to see it who follows I'm a Survivor. And then this was the big showing today. So today the big meetup is here at our local fire department. This was ground zero of the
It's citizens
manhunt.
coming together.
No, it's really powerful. It's neat to me to see everyone coming together, but it's also scary and sad
Because it's very real, and there's so much ground to cover that they need a team, and it's going to keep going like this.
They have helicopters out today. We've already seen two of them flying around.
Well, now there's an $80,000 reward as well. Right?
And there's an $80,000 reward. So, what was the? I want to share a funny part of the story if I can. Try to lighten the mood a little bit. You've all seen the Beverly Hillbillies, the actual, the older version, when they're rolling, they got the car all loaded and they're leaving whatever state they're from. Tennessee, was it Tennessee? And they moved to Beverly.
I don't know where the Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh man, so one day you're shooting for some food, and out come around, come on, bubbling crude.
Yeah,
I don't know what state.
I thought it was Texas.
No, shut your mouth. Shut your pie hole.
I thought it was Texas because of the oil.
Oh. Texas tea.
Yes, that's what
Black gold. Oh no, don't tell me those folks were from Texas.
I'm pretty sure.
Jamie, couldn't we just make up a state that's not Texas? Anywho, yesterday, Jamie was going to drop me off, and I was going to do my part to help out with the locals and do their thing. Now, when we got there, the funniest thing that I saw, and I can laugh about it now, was a four-wheeler. You all know what a four-wheeler is, a quad cycle. There was a guy driving it. There was a guy sitting behind him, except he was turned around sitting backwards. So they were kind of sitting back to back. This guy sitting behind him was armed. I mean, he had his own rifle. And then there were two guys who were standing, holding him so they wouldn't fall, and they had their rifles strapped on. And this guy driving this four-wheeler.
I looked at Lester and I was like, no. So
that was their team, and their team was going to drive around, and they were doing a good thing by going to all the elderly, asking could they help, look at their property and go over and they were doing a good thing. But I just thought that was like comical in a way, and also very dangerous, because you don't know if all of these were not soldiers or police officers who've been trained, I don't think, in weaponry. They're probably good old boys. Let me just say, here's a word that you may not hear much, just good old boys. You heard the song? They're just good old boys, y'all, and they're just trying to do their part to help out. But good old boys could get somebody hurt like that.
Yeah,
good old boys can get somebody hurt. They can hurt other good old boys. And this good old boy didn't want to be in that situation. So I said, you know what? I'll just do my part and check out our own property. And I helped out, went over to Joanne's and Aunt Joanne, went to Mom and Dad's. They were already very aware of what was going on, and they'd already done their own sweep of all their barns and stuff.
Apparently they did leave Tennessee, it says on here.
Thank God. Tennessee, you old bunch of hillbillies. Anywho, So yeah, so that was kind of funny because in the hillbillies, if you remember, they're all loaded up on that truck. I think Granny is sitting up on top of something, and they
She's
got
got
all
a
their.
rocker on top of it
She got
all.
a rocker on top of that truck, and they got all. And didn't she have a rifle?
Yeah.
Didn't Granny have a rifle
Yes,
in her
Granny's
hand?
always the one that had the rifle.
Now listen, it wasn't good old just good old boys. There were some good old girls too, y'all. There were some good old girls who come up to do their part. And then that was the craziest thing that I saw, which made me say, wait a minute, I get it, what they're doing. I understand the role that they're fulfilling here and doing their part. But that was
I just felt like it wasn't as organized as my little control freak brain wanted it to be. And I just felt like maybe we could do better on our own. So that's why.
Yeah, because we pictured like them like laying out a map of a grid, and somebody in charge, like an official in charge, is talking about let's we're going to all cover these coordinates, and we're going to set up a block up by the river, and we're going to everyone else go down by the road, and kind of like organizing it. And it wasn't that at all. It was just a bunch of good old boys showing up, and then if they don't start putting flags all over the place.
You know what's worse, though?
If you're in a manhunt and you got to get there and you got to go catch a man who is a violent criminal who is more than likely hiding in your neighborhood, why did you take the time to everyone start setting their flags and putting all their flags up? Because, okay, so you're an American. Yeah, we're an American. And I get it. You just feel patriotic in doing something to help. And so I will say this, these were mostly Hispanic and Caucasian males and females. They were out looking for a man who murdered a family from Honduras. So don't think it's anything racial or necessarily. No. It wasn't like they're from Honduras. So no, it was
about citizens. It was about human beings.
It was about human beings, but they were going about what they were doing in a very redneckish kind of way.
That's okay. I told Lester that's not very safe. So then we went home and I sent him off to the woods by himself completely, which is.
Well, I had a dog named Buddy, who ended up turning around and going home. So Buddy was no help at all. Trixie only follows if I'm on the four-wheeler where she can bite at the back of the exhaust.
She only likes you for your drugs.
And so Trixie and Buddy were no help at all in me doing this manhunt. So I was on my own. But no, you do what you have to do to protect those that are around you. You don't have any really funny stories. That we saw some folks who were actually in a truck. It was a 4x4. You want to talk?
Oh, they're just standing on the top, like on the back of it, across the top, and
leaning over the hood.
I mean,
the hood, the top of the truck.
It was pretty wild. I was like, where are we? Like, it felt surreal because it was like time paused for everyone. Everybody's normal Saturdays of running errands and kids' soccer games, and you go to the bank on Saturday to cash your check from Friday, and you run to the post office and all the things you couldn't get to on Saturday, which is it's usually a very buzzing town with, you can tell, errands and just people out and about. And it wasn't. It was people coming together to be out and about doing this.
Well, it's like a neighborhood watch kind of a thing. And so even though we felt like it wasn't really organized and dangerous, I'm still proud of those boys. I'm proud of those men and women who did that. And I really do think that our neighborhood is safer when you do have people that will
come together,
arm themselves and come together to try to fight crime, because every superhero fights crime. And that, you don't have to be what do they say? Not all heroes wear capes or whatever the little saying goes. But I'll tell you what, these were a bunch of men and women, white and black, and brown.
They put themselves out there.
Who put themselves out there
in the sake of other humans who were harmed and in prevention of further harm. And that to me says more than anything. There's nothing political tied to this. This was about human beings. This wasn't about race or gender or ethnicity or even culture. It was seriously about a community coming together. And that was a proud feeling to see and to be a part of.
So believe it or not, I wasn't the biggest redneck out and about yesterday toting a gun. I was actually, y'all would have been proud of me. Y'all would have been very proud of me. All right. So anyway, we will go ahead and change subjects if y'all are okay with that. I believe that we said everything that we know on our end, and we don't watch the news a whole lot, but you couldn't avoid this story. It was all over our local Facebooks and all over everything. Of course, everyone's talking about it and calling and checking on each other. And so I feel good that Brienne and Laramie are there at the sanctuary. And just having them there, Laramie is former military, a U.S. Marine. And so Laramie, he has no fear. He still he feels like he could almost walk on water, and that's a really neat Marine mentality. And I guess all armed forces have that ingrained, that and so Laramie will defend and protect his family. And so I'm glad that Brienne and them are close. And then of course mom and dad have Daniel and Jake and Kim, and everyone is right there, so everyone's going to be fine. And they will eventually find this guy, because it may be hard, like you said, because no one really knows his last name. No one really knows much about him. No one really knows anything. But I believe that with the reward
I would
money,
say the reward money and the national news
and the national news
is a change from events of past.
Yeah, and I believe even if he flees the country, someone at some point will find this guy.
Yeah.
And so let's just hope that is sooner rather than later. Anywho, we have other things to talk about.
There's a lot of people asking about Billy Bob.
Well, that's coming up. I actually have included a pitch.
Oh, well then.
Yes, I am really good. So what I do before we go live is I prepare. You already know the teacher in me. And I sort of prepare an outline of things to talk about. I did not know we were going to go that long on topic number 1.
Oh.
But how long does that say?
37 minutes.
Anyway, so let's
You were preparing the list and I was preparing my face. Sorry.
That's the problem usually. So let's go ahead and talk about, or I'm going to show a little video clip of something that you guys will be very excited about. I know she is. Watch this. Whoa. What are we looking at here, Jamie?
Oh, that's the greenhouse with a roof, partial roof.
So we did a lot of painting over the weekend, and we started painting on Friday, staining. It's just stained. And so we got it all stained. And then the fella came back and began to put up the fiberglass roof today, Sunday.
Yes.
Today. And so I made this video clip just before we came inside. And so you can already see the fiberglass is going up. I think it's fiberglass, right?
Polycarbonate.
Polycarbonate, right up there. Look, and that's what makes it a greenhouse, is light can still come through. I want to back up a little bit if I can, and show. They have helicopters out today.
Oh my goodness!
Give me one. I've already seen 2 of them flying around. All in the one video, so I had to do it today.
Reward as well.
And there's an $80,000 reward. Patience. Okay. So tell everybody what we're seeing here.
So this is the front of the greenhouse, and it is the porch. There's a 10-foot porch on the front of it. And then you're also looking at, there are 2 8-foot doorways, one in front and one in back. The front has steps up to the greenhouse. Then the back has a ramp coming out of it. But those openings will be barn style, but still using that polycarbonate so light can come through. So we got the brackets that came in yesterday or this morning, one of those 2 days. UPS dropped those off, so those will go up. And then we're actually building the doors ourselves, which is gonna be interesting, not gonna lie. But it's gonna be neat because it has the ability to open all the way up on both sides and let air flow through.
Yeah.
And okay, I might jack this all up, but I believe the doors are on the north and south side. Is that correct?
Yes. So the door that we're looking at, the 8-foot door, I don't think they can see my mouse, but the door, the 8-foot. So you're actually looking at, we're about to walk onto the porch.
Yes.
It's a 10-foot by
20.
20. So that's a 10 by 20 porch. that even though it will be open, it still has the lighting that it can flow through. So we can have things planted there on the porch, that things that are seasonal, obviously. But Jamie and I want to bring our rocking chairs over.
Yeah.
Our two white rocking chairs.
Well, I didn't spill those beans yet. That was gonna be my surprise.
Oh, Jamie, I am so sorry. Well, it's too late now because now there's over 7,000 people have heard. But no, we wanted to bring the white rocking chairs over and put those on the porch so we can sit there and look out.
Those are a piece of nostalgia for us. We spent probably as much time in those rocking chairs as anywhere else, rocking babies and animal
Bottle
babies, and
yeah,
bottle
animal
babies,
Pig
and,
Trudy.
you know, and babies we've lost as well. So those rocking chairs are very, very important to us. And they're going to be parked right here on the porch of the greenhouse.
And so, and then on, of course, the inside of the greenhouse is going to be a 20 by 20.
Mm-hmm.
So 20 by 20. And I think that I'm kind of proud of myself for convincing Jamie to do the barn style sliding door, because there's going to have to be ventilation, and we're not putting any windows in. So the only ventilation will come from the north and south doors. But I convinced her not to. She talked about maybe doing French doors that would, open either in or out. But I thought that would be hard to open them and prop them. If you open them in, it's going to take away space.
It was a space thing. So being able to make 2 4-foot doors that can slide it's going to be beautiful.
You're not going to give me credit for that, are you? Because I worked on that. I
know you did.
And then also, so now we can just, depending on how much ventilation you want, we can slide them a foot apart, slide them 2 foot apart. They can't blow in the wind. They're going to be, just open.
They have a track on bottom and top.
There's a track. And so there won't be a track on the bottom, I don't think, just to come across the top. So they're hanging doors.
There's a clip that goes.
Oh, is there?
That sits right in. I know you can't see me pointing, but sits right in front of the wall.
Yeah.
That allows it to not sway like this.
Oh, I see, when you open it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then the other part is people are saying, why no ventilation? Why no ventilation? That will serve as our ventilation because of the north and south run. It will have roof ventilation, and then the possibility later of adding windows will just depend on what happens in the greenhouse yet. It's very easy for us to go and cut some of the polycarbonate and put actual windows that fold in, fold out. But now we don't believe that we'll have to, because of the way that the shading happens as well. I built a video about this. It's not posted yet. But in reality, I don't want so many holes that I have to go back and patch. I would rather start with where we are and then figure out what our temperatures end up being like and go from there.
Yeah. So I didn't know that. I thought that the doors would be fine for ventilation.
No, sometimes you need more going crossways. And then the other thing is there is a fan that will go. You don't know this yet. There is a fan that will go that'll have a ventilation to be able to move that around, move the air around the top as well, so it's not just sweltering. So there's that option, and then there's also a skylight potential. But those are all like phase 3 later. Right now, it's about get it up and see what we have. And the neat part about these polycarbonate sheets is they're a little bit over 2 foot wide, and they're very easy. They're very easy to utilize. So we can play with it once we get it started, but it will have an exhaust fan built in. There's a spot for power for that to happen, to be able to move air out. But the open doors will allow us to make this a year-round usage of a greenhouse.
Yeah, well, I have no idea about anything that has to do with the greenhouse. It's never been my thing, but I'm happy to see you so happy about it. And I'm enjoying working with the fellow who's helping us on this thing. Mr. Ciro is just an amazing craftsman. And he's the same fellow who did the RV porch. He found the crew for the cement and did all the form, the foundation. And he's also the guy that did all the roofing for that thing.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I don't and can't do. I don't know how to do that. So we do whatever we can. And then we sometimes will hire out. We're blessed that he's able to help us. He also has a full-time job, but he helps us when he's available. And so a lot of weekend work gets done when he's here. And so, yeah, today we got a lot of the roof on, and then we'll do the walls some point this week.
Yeah,
So,
probably if you eat it. The nice part is it's getting lighter later. So our ability to work into the evenings when it's cool out as well is really helpful.
yep. Okay, so I'm going to continue this video, and then you can kind of see the inside of it. And then we're going to go to another exciting thing that I'm about sick of. I'm sick of hearing about it. Now, you all will be tickled pink because y'all know y'all love, well, you'll just have to see. So, yeah, that's how it's going to look. And
I can't wait to be
all right,
doing
this is the part that I'm about sick of.
already. How can you be sick of it already?
All right, so I will. Well, let me just show y'all what Jamie keeps talking about, and then I'll let her tell you why she's so excited. This is Jamie's garden here at Longhorn Lester's, but there's something growing here that Jamie just cannot seem to stop talking about, and a lot of y'all will recognize it right about Halls. You all know what that is, right, Jamie? What is so miraculous about that?
Because it's broccoli in Texas. It's hard to grow broccoli in Texas, and I'm so excited about it. I made a video about it and a reel about it, and people probably are sick of like, oh, just broccoli, Jim. You can go to the store and buy broccoli. But I grew it, and I can't wait to eat it, and I can't wait to make him eat it. And it's big and beautiful, and it didn't bolt. And for non-garden people, bolt means that it gets so warm that it never produces a fruit and just goes right back to making seeds, and fruit being the vegetable. I know it's boring to people that don't garden, but it's really exciting to me because I can eat. I feel like that's a success.
I just think it's funny how our conversations have changed over the course of the years that we've been together, because this is the second year that Jamie has done gardening. So
that?
we just I'm going to remove this, and then it goes back to us. So this is the second year that Jamie has worked in a garden. So last year her big success was her cherry tomatoes, and boy, we had a lot of them. Now, yes, she grew some cucumbers as well, but I think that you were just so tickled at all the tomatoes, all the tomatoes.
It was a big deal.
And then I liked them because we could let the birds out. We had brought all, by that point, we had all the birds here, so they would run around the yard, and they would always end up at your garden. And I'm like, whoo, I don't got to feed them today because look, and they're just sitting there eating them tomatoes up like crazy. That was a lot of fun. And but
they will not be venturing out this year. Sorry.
No. But now every single morning when we walk out to have our coffee, I like to sit down and drink coffee. But she can't sit down. She takes her coffee and walks to the garden.
I gotta talk to my garden.
And oh wee, look at this. And oh wee. And all I'm sitting there the whole time, I'm sitting there sipping my coffee. I'm looking at her. I'm thinking, who is she? Like, what happened to the Jamie of yesteryear? And all I have now is this little old lady who wants to work in her garden all the time.
I love it. There is something just like resting with me to put my hands in that dirt. And that's so crazy because Angie, a Big Family Small Farm, talked about that to me whenever we were here. She's like, there's actually a dopamine response to putting your hands in dirt. It's a chemical reaction that happens. And I don't know if there's a chemical reaction, but I can tell you that it brings me joy, and it allows me to just relax. And I get also crazy excited to see when things are popping up. I have a pepper out there that's growing. I have no idea what the heck it is. It might not even be edible, but I'm so excited about it that I can't wait. And you didn't post the thing from Plum Grove on here, did you?
No, that I can.
No, don't.
You want me to show everybody that from Plum Grove?
No, but
can I just say that things really are bigger in Texas? Like bigger. A lot of people are probably gonna start putting emojis. Oh my God, here they come, the emojis. Listen, so not everything that starts off small stays small. Thank God. because you need to stop with that laugh. That
I
was
can't help
evil.
it. But okay, so a lot of people are like, "Wait, was it the zucchini?" I did post the zucchini. I had to tell on you that when I told you to check the garden for a few days, that you checked the garden, but I wasn't specific enough to say pick any zucchini that are bigger than your forearm. Because he didn't.
That was the cutoff. Huh? That's the measuring device we're using now. And yeah.
Listen,
you
use your body for all their measure.
You didn't
points.
tell me to pick. You said to go out there and check, like water. You didn't say pick fruit, pick vegetables. But
the zucchini was the start, and then today I found something else lurking that was just as big, and I was actually embarrassed.
So anyway, all I have to say is he's a grower, not a shower. That's the expression we're going to use. When I make my video, I'm going to call it that too. He's a grower, not a shower. All right. Can I just call it that? And everyone will be okay with that?
I don't know what to say.
I don't know. I mean, that's actually pretty Facebook
I have
friendly.
never felt so naughty in gardening, but it is dirty, y'all. It is dirty, dirty, dirty. And then he adds to it. That's all I could say.
You and Angie and them, what'd you call them again? Morphins of what'd you call them? Dopamines. Yeah. Endorphins. Whatever, Jamie, whatever's flowing in that soil has got you. But no, so used to we would sit and talk in the mornings, but now we don't talk. Now she hollers across the yard. And so I'm not going to holler back. I'm not going to yell back at her.
I get excited.
And so I sit there and I drink my cup of coffee in peace. And then she gets upset that we never talk. And I'm like, well, this is not talking, yelling across the yard at you want, or does she want me to follow her around like a little old man with my cup of coffee and I sip it while she digs through the dirt?
I do. I want you to
endorphins.
Yeah, I want you to come out and check out the garden with me.
Anywho, someone is screaming for a Billy Bob update. My gosh, people, can't we just do things at our pace? Can we not do things at our pace? So, fine. Billy Bob, here he comes. Let's just look for. Oh, well, first, we must talk about the quietest chickens on earth. Because listen to me. A lot of you guys were screaming and hollering, and you were even upset that Jamie convinced me to allow her some of these feathered babies at the quiet, serene. It was God's country.
I don't want any of that noise. You're going to be disrupting all the peace and quiet, the serenity that you have.
Yes, because
the calm.
The donkeys are cute, but they normally only do their call on occasion. But everyone knows that there's nothing quiet and peaceful about the Plum Grove property because of the chickens and the geese and the ducks and the turkeys, plural. And so when we were gifted this, they call it the igloo, right? The omelet. And we had to bring some chickens by to test it out. Listen, you don't hear a peep out of those things. They sit there and do their thing, and you don't hear a peep. So this is me feeding them, and they're just so quiet, and they're all happy to run up and eat. And so they're doing great. And the omelet, the little device there is working out really neat. But I still think that we should just limit ourselves to between 3 and 5, like it suggests. And that will be plenty for us. Once they start laying eggs, that will be great. And so that's really neat. I really, really, really am enjoying the chickens.
It's working out well. I love that they allow us to touch them, and there is way more individualized attention to them because of their enclosed nature. And I'm able to not have to wait till they roost at night.
And how neat that they know the routine.
They do.
Because you guys can see that this thing is on wheels. And so what we do is it's portable. So you move it around the yard so as your chickens don't eat up all of your grass. They can actually go to a different spot every day. And sometimes, like Jamie said, we can move them throughout the day, and they'll walk right. They will
They
walk
just
right
stroll
along with
with us. Yeah.
Yeah, they're normally you put on, you wait till they go up to roost at night, and then you get in there and you raise the wheels and you move them. And no, these chickens are cool. Just move us whenever you want to, and we'll just walk right along with you. And they can't wait until you put the wheels down, and they act like it's this whole new.
They're like, yay, vacation again, new day.
Yeah, new terrain, new places to explore. And it's really just a 6-foot run. But to them, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And so we really enjoy that. So, all right, let's get on to Billy Bob. Now, it's just a still shot photo that Miss Kathy sent me, but we'll talk about some stuff that she's told us. And cue that photo in now. Okay. So so this is Billy Bob, and he's actually asleep. Now, I know what you're saying. Wait, it's like his eyes are open and he's smiling. No, this is that kind of sleep that I think most of you women have looked over at some point at your partner and have says, what the hell? Because I think it's a natural thing for men, especially, to sometimes when they're in really a great deep sleep, to allow their bottom jaw to drop. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Women, you know it's true. You've looked over and seen your man, and their bottom jaw has dropped.
They're Darth Vader in it, you know it.
And so she just is tickled at King Billy Bob. She calls all of her animals by royalty. They're all royalty to her. Mm-hmm. So it's either a queen or king. And so he is King Billy. And so King Billy is right there. He's resting in her arm, in this her armpit area on the couch. She raised her arm to take a picture. It was really cute. And he's just snoring away. He's
very happy. And that makes me happy.
Yes. Well, he's doing there just what we knew he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And he also goes on walks with a leash. We had no idea he was a leash trained dog.
He loves the leash, like gets excited and dances for it. And I'd never pulled out a leash because I didn't have to, because he followed me everywhere.
Or you carry him places.
And I carried him, and we didn't leave to have to go on actual walks. Like she lives in a place where they go on walks to the dog park, and they go bathroom breaks and everything else. They go for walks.
Yeah.
And well, we're farm dogs. Our dogs
take their own walks.
Yeah. So I never had broken out a leash for him before. And when we went to the vet, I put him on my lap and I carried him. So I never got to see that part of him. But to be so excited about that makes my heart so warm, because he is living a great life. Did you show a video on Friday of his raincoat or a picture?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Billy Bob has his own raincoat now. He has upgraded from the poncho and has his own raincoat. And then he has, if you notice, he still is wearing a vest right now, because but it is much smaller and lighter for the summer. He has quite the wardrobe.
Yes. And Miss Kathy keeps his clothes changed daily. And that raincoat was because they took a walk on a rainy day. And so she has her umbrella, he has his raincoat, and off they go. And he couldn't be happier. And so for the people who are asking about Christmas's puppies, Jamie is actually working on a video where she's asked all of the Christmas's puppies' new mommies and daddies to send her pictures and video files. And she's going to compile those into one big thing. The only one that we see on a regular basis is Moose. That's the one that went with Lissa and Jake over to their place, and we see Moose every single day. So he's getting really big, and
Christmas got to see him last week, which was really special.
Got to visit him last week. That's true. Yes. All right. So Jamie, there's
take down our little mouth breather here. How about that? Is there one more thing?
That is actually all I had. But at this point, it's just you and me.
That's a lot.
No, guys, we're just really blessed to be able to say that the family, the animals, everyone's doing well. We're also broken for the family of the folks who live down the road, who will have their lives forever changed You guys saw that the ages of those victims ranged from 8 is the youngest, who goes to the school right there down the road, all the way up to, I think the oldest one was a 40-year-old, an 18-year-old male, a 21-year-old female. And they said that the bodies, this saddens me. This breaks me like horribly to know, and to that some of the bodies were in a position of protecting the younger ones, the other babies. So not everyone in the house was killed, but and in fact, those women who hunched over those babies to protect them did that. And so there's still more news that comes out every day. So you guys just keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And so, like I said, we know things happen all over the place, and it's just not something that we're familiar with. So
Yeah.
What else?
Y'all, there's a lot going on this week. And we can't wait to bring you videos of that. And thank you for listening to us and for being a part of our live and our videos about the circumstances that are going on in our part of the world. We know that you see enough horrible things on the news that you don't want to hear it from
Your happy place, or what we hope is your happy place.
But we also felt like it was really important to discuss, because it was a direct, impact for us as far as what we're going through.
So we will go ahead and address this. I was ready. I'm already closing the video out.
Man,
you can tell
know.
People are saying goodbye. People are waving goodbye to us, and people are logging out. But Miss Paul, we are not going to do a rescue this month. We're going to take the month of May and assess where we're at. And I think that you all can understand why we would say that. It was we are still doing our routine as far as feeding the animals and doing the watering and stuff on a regular basis. But we are not going to bring one in this month because there's so many things happening, changes that are happening with everything. And if you follow the channels, you know about all the changes that are going on. So and this is me asking and convincing Jamie to just take a month off. It was we are blessed to say that Stella and Christmas and Buddy have all done very well on their heartworm treatments. We're also blessed that Stella, Christmas, they were spayed this month, and we got that taken care of. We got Buddy was neutered last month.
Billy Bob was
neutered last week. Yeah. So we've done a lot. We've
also, hold on a second. Millie and Fiona were also spayed last month. So yeah. we've had a lot of that interaction and a lot of things going on and changes. And Lester's right. We need to take a pause, let these dogs heal and get a little adjusted to what's going on. And
go ahead. I just want to add to what you're saying.
Go ahead.
I don't want to cut you off. So if you're still,
okay.
I was just going to say that we're also having a small situation with Stella.
Yes.
Figuring out Stella. I don't want to rehome her because I love her so much. I'm going to cry, and I don't want to cry. But I do love her so very much. But we're not dog trainers, y'all. We're not dog trainers, and we don't. It's one thing for someone to give you a phone call and tell you what to do, but that's not. And so sometimes we don't know what we don't know. And so we're having some aggression issues with sweet Stella. And I think that the worst thing that we want to do right now, the worst thing would be to bring in another rescue when we're trying to get Stella to figure out who's who and what's what. We are trying to still like you said, we're trying to find time. And with all the hours that were spent driving to and from and sitting at the vet for all of these things to happen this past month was quite overwhelming, because that took us out of our normal routine. And, Jamie still works a full-time job. I work part-time. And then it was difficult trying to do all of that. And so a new rescue more than likely means lots of vet time.
Yeah. And I think that it is the smart thing to do to let our animals pause. I talked about it in my video with Christmas that played this weekend, that I noticed a different change in her with each dog that was added. And we need to be sure that we're doing the right thing for all of our animals that we have, on top of helping others. And by having a constant rotation, we don't want our dogs to ever feel like that they're second, or to see their demeanors change due to an influx in. And like Lester said, the amount of time between vets and the requirements that we feel are the right thing to do for these dogs, we just need to pause, and that's okay. So we're going to pause for May for now, and see what happens.
There you go. All right. Well, close us out, Jamie. I'm going to just tip my hat and say good night to everybody, and God bless you all. And thank you for loving us and supporting us as we go through all of the changes. All of the changes.
The only thing that stays the same is change itself. And as long as you're prepared for that, you can, prepare yourself for anything. So I think Lester said it best. Thanks for loving us and for being a part of our life and lives, and allowing us into your homes and phones, and giving us the greatest gift of all, which is your time. We love you, and we hope you have a really blessed week.
Night, guys.